Hello YouTube, I'm actually going to be doing a rant and this time it's about Crossout Designator, whether the card is a flop or not. Based on my knowledge, the card is not a flop. It actually has a lot of potential. Although reading its effect, it does seem situational, but with how cards are today, it depends how meta relevant the cards are. And it affects, the thing is, it affects every card that applies in the main deck. And that's something to look forward to because people the players who are playing competitive, you usually expect them to play certain cards, and then although like it may be situational, though the cards that help you that are in your main deck can help you in your hand as well, and then having the main deck can be useful because they can stop the cards your opponent already has in their hand if they have the same name already in your main deck. So for I want to give my list in which are the best Crossout Designator targets that you want in main deck, and that's 3 Ash Blossom. This card is very clutch. It does stop your first turn. It hurts every single deck out there. It's one of those cards that's very popular and will still continue to be a card that will be a problem throughout Yu-Gi-Oh! And because it's also what made hand traps become like relevant. What's made them like it's Ash Blossom is what gave tribute to the hand traps. It is a prime example of hand traps, and as I mentioned, like you also want to be able to. You sure if it's in your hand, you also want to prevent your opponent from playing Yu-Gi-Oh too, because it's best both in your hand and main deck. Another card I'm suggesting that's similar to Ash Blossom is Droll Lockbird. Although it's older than Ash Blossom, this ensures your opponent might prevent you from allowing your first turn to go off. So it's like by banishing Droll Lockbird, you can continue with that turn and then be able to do your shenanigans. But besides that, it can also hurt your opponent even more because if you already have Droll Lockbird in hand, and although it's considering it's not a brick at that point because it can stop their entire turn and you have the opportunity to go off on them. The moment you draw Lockbird their monster, and if your hand is full of floodgates, the chances are you can be able to consistently spam monsters and break their boards, and then be able to make your boards even bigger. Another hand trap I'm gonna also suggest that's also a good cross-out designated target. Nibiru, obviously, because that breaks boards as well. It's also a card that Call by the Grave can't stop, unfortunately. Then that's where Crossout Designator comes in because it ensures that your board becomes alive, and that even if when you do negate its effect, although it remains in their hand, they can't activate it for the rest of the turn because like it's you want to be sure you want to be able to negate and destroy on the field. So also, it can definitely hurt your opponent even more because if they go first and you have an Nibiru in hand, tribute all the monsters on their field before they get their negates, and then they're stuck with the token, and then they have to figure out how they're gonna manage to keep getting new monsters out. Another hand trap, the two other hand traps I'm gonna mention is obviously Effect Veiler and Infinite Permanence, but I'm gonna explain the difference. Like, although Effect Veiler is not better than Infinite Permanence, you also want to like be aware. You want to be cautious if they do play Effect Veiler because like it affects them too. Like you don't want it to affect you because you always want to be. You want to ensure that your main searcher gets you all your combo pieces. So even especially hitting Effect Veiler makes a huge difference because the fact it can activate more than once per turn, like it doesn't although it can easily be outed, some people don't realize it's also very useful because it's easy link fodder for Link Karibo. So even if it does become a brick in the hand, you can easily get rid of it with Link Karibo. Infinite Permanence is also one card that I have to mention because like it's a card that can be stopped by Call by the Grave, although they have to set it in order to activate it. Like it is true. It does become a brick when you don't go first. If you're like if you are on your third turn. If you're going in your third turn, yes, maybe. But it's that card. It's another way to out that card, especially without Call by the Grave, because Call by the Grave is completely useless in that scenario. And I'll do, although Infinite Permanence is a brick, you also have to be aware that all they need really need to is play at least one or two Infinite Permanents, and that could stop your turn. But what I'm suggesting is that you do main deck it. Although people don't like playing traps, it's another trap card. But again, Crossout is another way of like being able to ensure that your first turn goes, and that you are able to succeed and be able to proceed. And these aren't hand traps that I'm going to be suggesting for Crossout Designator targets. The ones that are very important are either Pot of Prosperity, Pot of Extravagance, Lightning Storm, Pot of Desires, Evenly Matched, Call by the Grave, Triple Tactics Talents, Lancia, yeah, the Dark Ruler No More, Forbidden Droplet, and yeah, those are my recommendations to what Crossout Designator can counter with that are meta relevant cards. And I hope you guys enjoy the video and learn from this, and understand that Crossout Designator is not a flop. If anything, it's a card that gives you an advantage. And I hope you enjoy the video, and hope to continue forward and make new content. See you.